Today, Image Comics workers have united together and decided to form a union. In a statement released today from the Comic Book Workers United, they went out and put their mission statement out online along with their slogan that includes the ending that includes the words, because our success is the company's success, our success is the creator's success, our success is the reader's success. What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to Second Street. I hope you're all having a very good day today. As I said, Image Comics workers today have decided to unite. They have decided to unite and form a union. They go on, they say here in a statement, for years, in their mission statement on their website here, the Comic Book Workers United. It says, for years, comics publishing workers have watched our professional efforts support creators and delight readers. Sadly, we have also watched that same labor be taken for granted at best and exploited at worst. Keeping our heads above water was the new normal before the pandemic, and since its onset, we have been expected to take on even larger workloads with fewer resources. Our workforce in the comic book and publishing industry as a whole is overtaxed and undervalued. This is detrimental not only to general staff, but also to the creators we are paid to serve and the audiences they in turn work to entertain. Our labor is integral to the comic book industry. It requires specialized skills, dedication, and makes quality publishing possible. We love what we do, but loving what you do doesn't mean you can't or shouldn't ask for improvements to your working conditions. It is in mind and with great hope for the future of Image Comics and the comic book industry itself that we announce our intent to form a union and request voluntary recognition. This should not be radical or revolutionary and is, in fact, a natural development for a company that started the way Image Comics did in the early stages of organizing. We look to Image's founders for inspiration. Their dreams of self-determination and more equitable treatment in the industry they loved and helped make successful are also our dreams. We are honored to grow their legacy by taking this step to give all comic book industry professionals, regardless of title, the same rights, guarantees, security, protections which the founders sought when they broke away from the big two to start their own company. In fact, several months into our organizing efforts, Jim Valentino made a comment on social media celebrating union accomplishments. That was the moment we knew this could work. Despite years of union busting and anti-organization sentiments in the American workforce, we know that Image has, at its heart, a desire to be first when it comes to doing the right thing for comics workers. That's why we know we will win, because our success is the company's success. Our success is the creator's success. Our success is the reader's success. Signed by Ryan Brewer, Leanna Counter, Marla Isaac, Drew Fitzgerald, Melissa Gifford, Chloe Ramos, Trisha Ramos, John Schlafman, Erica Schnatz. These are the people who pulled together to form this union. These workers for Image Comics. Now, there's several things I kind of want to talk a little bit about here when it comes to these to their statements, but let's go here to what their goals here, the goals of this union are. They have the goals set forth here also on their website here. This is just an overview. Is that number one? And we'll kind of dig into a little bit of these as we go, I suppose, give you their mission statement there already. Number one. Now, you know what? I kind of feel like there's some things that I should say before going into this. I feel like there's some things that I should say going into this. I have no problem with them deciding to unionize and all those kinds of things. There's a lot of things good and bad that comes with unionizing. I, for one, I wouldn't say I'm against unions, but for the most part, there's a lot of jobs and industries out there that I would say do not require having union representation for them. Most of these jobs are things like menial labor jobs. You know, I wouldn't even say necessarily, I would say entry kind of level jobs that kind of don't really require that, but they are jobs that where you have the potential to be promoted and things like that, where you can always get onto bigger and better things. And even in a lot of these places, you can get hired in and get some pretty decent wages just being a regular employee at for some time. Probably not right off the bat, but you know what? That's what a lot of these kind of jobs are in the first place. And some places don't need it. Where I would argue that definitely, if you get into like the trades and things like that, you know, you're a welder, you know, plumbers and things like that, truckers. But overall, I would say that a lot of jobs out there, a lot of industries probably don't require such things. But there are plenty of organizations out there, and obviously even the people that the folks here at Image Comics obviously dealt with and kind of got together with when forming their union here, in just kind of what we've seen in their mission statement. Now let's go ahead and get into their goals here, and we'll kind of pick and go through some of these as we go. The overview here says, number one, to foster a more competitive industry as a whole through salary and workload transparency for all existing and proposed job titles. Employees industry-wide should know what they and their peers are working for and what they can expect from future employment. Now, I get what I kind of get. As we go through these, you'll see that a lot of these things really sound more just like things that are not necessarily specific to this company, because I'm sure this same kind of thing happens in a lot of places. I will tell you that in most places, when you get into bigger corporations and stuff, this isn't much necessarily a problem, but it is still an issue that has to be dealt with at times, because what they're talking about here is getting your job and getting your specific title and knowing what your job is supposed to be. Absolutely, that's something that you as an employee should have laid out for you from your employer. Number two, improve staff morale through annual staff and management reviews to assess performance, workload, and whether there is a clear need to expand a department, craft a new role, or increase compensation for employees who have taken on larger quantity or more complex suite of tasks. Now, that one right there, I mean, obviously you would want to have performance reviews and things like that as well. Most jobs out there, you do get performance reviews, kind of depending on what they do. Maybe not necessarily every year, sometimes sooner than that. I know a lot of places, you know, back when I was in the regular workforce, you know, you would get hired at a job maybe 90 days later, or 90 days, 6 months later, you would go through a probational period, and you know they would decide whether they're going to hire you on or not. I think where I live at, actually, they had to do the 90-day thing or something like that. They had 90 days to let you go no matter what, and beyond that, they pretty much were stuck with you. And they had to go through more steps in order to be able to fire you from their job. But certainly, even if it doesn't include an increase in wages, certainly having annual times when you get together and assess what a person's job is, what they're doing, and whether they're doing a good job, or what they need to improve, is certainly something I would think would be valuable. And those are the kinds of things that I would think you would want to evaluate even more often than annually. Now, let's move on to number three, where the creation of a more transparent company culture through monthly all hands meetings so all staff can better understand both the current and future priorities, responsibilities, and workloads of other departments. Now, I'm not sure that they need to. I mean, the workloads of other departments. I mean, everybody's kind of got their own thing to worry about here. But certainly, having meetings is a good thing. I can tell you one thing that I know absolutely from the times that I spent taking and building teams of people, and these were teams that worked together, definitely in unison with each other every single day. It was pretty much like a team of it was pretty much like a football team, no different than a sports team or anything like that, where you had certain people that had to be in certain spots doing certain things, and they all had their function that they had to be able to do. Now, the one thing that was important when I was in that position was I would have meetings daily, because for one, we would get there and we'd get started, and I would have to tell them, okay, here's what we got. We've got this going on today. We've got this much stuff we've got to do. So let's go ahead and get to this. We'll get done here and we'll get on to the next one. And here's kind of what the game plan looks like. Break everything down for them. Makes it a little bit easier for them as we get ready to go on for the rest of the day. It kind of gives them a goal and something to shoot for. So, I mean, having meetings is something that is very, very important. Now, moving on to number 4, it says increased knowledge retention through the implementation of detailed record keeping and procedure documentation for all tasks deemed essential to any given role. These documents are to include detailed and explicit descriptions and instructions for all expected job duties. This is basically saying they want you to tell them how to do their job and have it outlined for them, and have a manual or something to be able to tell them how to do their job. Now, I can tell you probably in this industry, as it seems like probably in the movie industry and things like that are concerned, you know what? Your job description is whatever the hell I tell you to do, more than likely, if there's somebody above you. You know, if you're like, oh, well, I'm the, I'm the I'm the assistant supervising editor. You know what? Well, assistantly supervise getting me a coffee because it's getting late in the morning and I need to pick me up. That's kind of how it goes. Let's not act like it doesn't. All right? That's what they're saying here. They don't want none of that. They need clear, defined roles and what they need to be doing, and they're asking for a manual to be able to do it. And I'm not necessarily sure that that is unreasonable in a way, but sometimes it's not always quite like that. You can train somebody to do a job without having a manual. You can get them up to expectations, and you can clearly outline what those are. Certainly. Number 5 is to improve career mobility for all staff through stricter adherence to the company's stated intent to offer open positions up to qualified existing employees prior to opening them up to the public. Now, I can say I understand what they're going for right here. That makes sense. You know, seeing about hiring, promoting people in-house rather than going public with it. Now, I can tell you one thing is that's good sometimes, and sometimes it can be bad. I mean, say you get that person that gets promoted that you don't like. It happens. They get promoted, you didn't. The person that you wanted to did. The person that you think deserved didn't. And believe me, this happens in all kinds of places. You know, people get, you know, they get a little bit upset by these things. But I mean, obviously, you do want to try to go in house a lot of times because you have people who kind of know the culture, and you know, maybe they know the process of a lot of things that are going on, and maybe they've put in some work for it as well. But a lot of times, you want the best person for the job, and that sometimes means that you might have to go out of the company for some of those kinds of things. Now, moving on to number 6. This one right here says a continuation of remote work for any employees who requests it. This is a big one. Who requests it, and the creation of a detailed policy outlining how the company provides reasonable accommodations and supplies for remote employees. The pandemic has removed the necessity for the company to pay for central office spaces, utilities, etc., with employees in some cases now shouldering 100% of the costs to be shared by the employer. Costs such as internet, power, furnishings, and other office supplies, computer hardware, and related maintenance costs to work from their own personal devices. The company must outline an equitable arrangement for sharing a reasonable percentage of those costs. Now, the thing is, I think right there at the beginning, they said the continuation of remote work for any employee who requests it. To me, if you request it, it kind of sounds like you're putting that on yourself, but I don't think it's unreasonable for them to say, hey, well, you can work from home if you want, but you're going to have to come to the office and pick up your supplies and things like that. And as far as computers, maybe they're going to do like they did with my kids, and they're going to send a little laptop. They're going to send them home with a little Chromebook to work from home with. And you know what? I wouldn't doubt it if they get one of those ones that works off the Wi-Fi signal no matter what, so that you don't even have to have Wi-Fi at your house. I could see a company doing some stuff like that. But I mean, is there any should these people be getting together? I mean, you want to have meetings and all that stuff. And one thing definitely when it comes to a lot of these companies kind of having this culture, especially if you have like meetings where you get together and if you're there day to day. I mean, for me, I would encourage an office, but if they don't, I know that can be expensive these days as well. So but yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're going to do that, certainly I think the company should provide a lot of those things for them in the event that they are working from home remotely. I mean, that doesn't seem unreasonable in that case. But in that case, I think the company should even just provide the computer and everything like that. So you can say you have absolutely no reason to. We have a perfectly good working model here. If something goes wrong with this one, bring it to us. Depending on what happens to it, you might be held liable for it. Sometimes we'll make sure we update them and things like that. I don't think that's unreasonable. Get in here to number 7. It says better overall product through the immediate addition of staff, particularly in production and marketing departments. Our creators, retailers, and readers can expect white glove attention for all the books we publish, books which will go to press with fewer errors, fewer delays, and more robust marketing presence due to a more strategic approach to staffing in reasonable proportion to the actual quantity of output we generate. This one to me just seems like I mean, that just seems like if all those other things are already happening, this is basically saying, hey, if you pay us, you agree to these things, we'll make sure that we pick up our standards. We'll pick up our standards. Your standards should already be there. I understand the morale thing, which they already kind of brought up, but I understand that. But there's a lot more that goes into that. We'll talk about that in a minute. A long-term plan, number 8, is a long-term actionable plan to address the overall lack of diversity in both general staff and management. The authors, artists, and readers who bring comics to life have never been homogenous, and the stories we publish can only be improved by staffing our organization in a way that more accurately reflects the demographics of our creators, our readership, and the nation as a whole. Well, this one right here, like I get where they're going with this one right here, and I have no problem with that. Obviously you want to, diverse stories and things like that. You want to tell a different range of stories, but you know what? You're not look. You're not going to reach everybody. You know what Marvel Comics does? Superheroes. You know what DC Comics does? Superheroes. They've got some horror stuff they do. But that's what it is that they do. They've got a specific genre kind of thing that they do. I would say Image Comics certainly has a wider variety of stories and things like that in which they tell. And I would say if you look at their creators and things like that, they've got a pretty diverse cast of creators, be it writers, artists, and things like that already in the first place. But also, here's the other thing. It's got to make money. If you're making something that say appeals to 10% of the population, let's say, like skydiving. It's a book about skydiving. What's it got to do, right? Like how many people, like is 10% of the population even like skydiving? But say it's a story about skydiving. What are you going to put with it that's going to get people that aren't into skydiving into this book, right? The other 90% of the people. And I know, I'm just saying, as an example. Number 9, this is a good one. Number 9, renewed commitment to company values through the addition of a collective voting option to immediately cancel publication of any title whose creators have been found to have engaged in abuse, sexual assault, racism, or xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, ableism, etc., until such a time as said creators have engaged in meaningful reparations toward affected persons. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that last one right there, I just don't know about all of that. I mean, I think that's probably why you got like your chief creative officers, your chief executive officers, and all the chiefs, all the people, the big wigs at the top to decide those kinds of things. Now, I get it, you know, lots of times allegations and things like that come up, but there's plenty of instances that we can see these days in which situations have happened and people have overreacted, and we could talk about the cancel culture and things like that that go out there on the social medias like Twitter and Facebooks and stuff like that. I don't know, I get on Facebook. But what I'm saying is you can take a look at all those kinds of things. It's easy for people to throw false allegations out there, or for people to just throw even like real allegations out there and not have any kind of proof or anything like that to back up those allegations. Sure, there could be, you know, you put somebody basically be put on trial, but ultimately we see, I mean, and it's not that there's you know, things that are certainly going beyond the limit of what is appropriate, the things that people should be doing. And we know, we can look at the movie industry and see plenty of things that have gone on, and we know that kind of stuff goes on in the music industry and just all these other different kind of industries as well. People who do take advantage of power and the dynamics and things like that, and take advantage and do some very horrific things. But there's also times where we see that you can, I kind of feel like a situation like this is something where people are just going to be like, you know what, I don't like this person and what they said. I feel this person is being homophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, or any of these other things. I feel that they are being, and that could not be the case. Maybe they're just doing all this because they don't like the person. And I know they're saying they can put it to a vote, but I don't like that idea either. There's certainly been plenty of people out there in the world that have been controversial and done controversial things, who are just creatives, weird. And let's face it, this too. Creatives are weird. Creative people are weird. It's a fact. I mean, it's a fact. You know, I don't care whether you're a drummer in a band, the guitarist, the singer, whether you're a comics creator, a writer, a regular writer, movie director, a movie actor, doesn't matter. A lot of these creative-minded people are kind of weird and in their own space anyway. So, I mean, a lot of people have these flamboyant attitudes. A lot of these people are just, like I said, anything from mild to wild and completely inappropriate is the kind of people we're talking about. We're talking about human beings here. Now, I certainly understand if there's, like I said, actual crimes and things that are heinous, but some of these other things, you know, I believe just leaving up to just the kind of court of public opinion in most cases isn't always necessarily the wisest thing to do out there. But that's just if you ask me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll get into these live chats really quick. See how everybody's doing tonight. All right. Where we at here? All right. We got my man Mike, License to Show Porter, in the building. Wayne, my man Reefer Man Reviews. How are you doing? Some of the immortal Myrtle Maniacs. Sozen, thank you so much for being here. Lord Veedo, my man. How are you doing? Dixie is in the building. Let's see who else we got up in here. Aglax. Got some aggressively relaxing up in the building as well. Tim Possible, how are you doing? What is up? Rev Kev, how are you doing? Creatives are weird. That's why they keep They keep the world interesting, and it's true. It's true too. You know, I mean, like I'm an artist. I've drawn. I've been a singer in a band. I like there's like, and that's the thing is that like I'm a creative minded person as well, and you know, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. I mean, you can take a look at all the people just throughout history. A lot of these kind of people who are just out there kind of people, and sometimes that can be bad, man. Like you get some sick people out there who do some sick and gross and disgusting things. Certainly, but like I feel like that last one was basically a lot of people like, you know, like I said, all that cancel culture stuff out there saying, oh, we feel that this person is this way. There's a writer that's been going through this recently. His name Frank Gogol, and he ended up filing a lawsuit not too long ago. Was talking about this, and the thing is because at some one of these bar cons, you know, after a Comic Con one time, sounded like he was being drunk and belligerent, and there was a woman that was there that thought this guy was supposedly some big shit and didn't want to say nothing when they said that he was apparently being racist to her and telling racist jokes and stuff like that. To which didn't really get into any specifics there. There was the accusations, but no specifics. But the thing is, like I believe the guy was being drunk and out of line, probably drunk and belligerent. But like this lady came and she came out and called him a racist. Didn't go into specifics what he said or anything. Like I kind of gotta know. Like it was like I feel like when you get into stuff like that, I mean, just even the jobs I've had where we have to get in and investigate those kinds of things, like it gets taken pretty seriously. But I mean, it's pretty like when you get down and you start listening to people's statements and breaking it all down, a lot of times it's misunderstandings. And but that's kind of, you know, what it sounded like. This guy, like I have no doubt this guy was being drunk and belligerent, but racist. And then like not only that, calls him a racist, and then not only that, says that she don't even know the guy in the first place is what she's saying. She don't really know the guy in the first place, and then she's also saying that he's committing adultery and cheating on his wife. It's like, well, I'm not sure what that's any of your business, but I mean, you know, hey, you look at the statistics out there, and I guess we could see what the chances of that are, right? But yeah, like I said, it's just like some of those situations, some of those kinds of things. Like you have other people who should be working for this company to make those kind of decisions. But I will say, according to the mission statement that this company did with their the reason why they unionized and some of their kind of demands they made there is, you know, one of the things I thought was funny was they were talking about the guys who created Image Comics. It's like these guys weren't businessmen in the first place. These guys were artists and writers who wanted to do their own shit. And that's really about it. They weren't like business savvy dudes, right? They weren't business savvy dudes who were out there like, oh yeah, we know how to do all of these different things. And certainly these people asking for, you know, hopefully they're getting at least paid good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but the thing is like these guys aren't those kind of guys, and that's why you see a lot of these problems, why they have people who don't necessarily know what their job titles are, their expectations are, when they're going to get a raise, and things like that. I will tell you one thing, however, if you succeed, you get this union organized, and you succeed in trying to reach all these goals and things like that. Remember one thing that the union can promise, you know, a union can promise you all these things, that the good wages and all that kinds of stuff. But the other thing that they've got to do after that to get those wages, the company has to make money. The company has to make money. If they're expected to pay for all these things and all this kinds of stuff, they got to make money. And I know a lot of people out there don't really understand business, think, oh, they make a lot of money doing this kind of stuff. But ultimately, it takes a lot of money to do everything that needs to be done here. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know how business works. that's the other thing too. They think that, you know, it's going to be possible maybe for a company to keep shelling out all kinds of money towards keeping them employed. Meanwhile, the work they're producing may not be getting the kind of revenue that the company needs to sustain those kinds of wages and things like that, which will eventually lead to people being let go. But I don't know. That's just if you ask me. That's just if you ask me. Let's see what everybody is saying here tonight. Burn the union down. If it's human rights, go for it, but unions can destroy companies. Oh yeah, absolutely they can. Absolutely they can. You shouldn't need unions for better work conditions and ethical decisions and such. That shit should just be common freaking sense. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Reefer Man. Absolutely. Like I said, I feel like unions are good. Like if you're like a welder, you're part of a welders union, you know, you're like the truckers and stuff like that. You know, certain things, certain and like I said, trades, maybe so. Maybe so. But for the most part, yeah, you shouldn't have to be fighting for just like you said, basic work conditions and things like that. And the thing is, like, to me it sounds like this company just has not clearly defined roles for their employees, and it just comes down to whatever I need you to do right now, I need you to do. That's your job title. Okay, Mr. Senior Editor over whatever, what, you know what I mean? Like, just, or see, you just like whatever, you know, just like whatever the title is. Oh man. Now they can't pee either. Yeah, this is Declaration of Independence. Yeah. How much dues do they have to pay? See, and that's the things, like the dues. The dues. Is it always worth it? I don't know that it always is. Like the Duran Duran song Union of the Snake. I'll have to check it out. I guess one of their demands is our comic book characters should not, yeah, okay. Yeah, but probably so. Probably so. Oh man. What's everyone just at work chilling, huh? Alright. I'm trying to have a scheduled work break. Alright. Gung Ho Moo, yeah, Gung Ho, yeah. What is a work order? Yeah. You make 5,000 comics in 1 hour, you get a bonus. Add Galaxis power to the motherfucking people! Yeah. I would refuse their demands and just install suicide deaths around the building. Oh man. Students allowed it. Oh yeah. 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 So you need a book to what? What? Oh man, let's have a meeting about this stream. I'm starting at DoorDash Travers Union. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, we're gonna be all night. All night. Human nuts. All right. Starting a long-term disability union. My company doesn't think that's funny at all. Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah. Give me a bag of nuts to use my that's to crack the shell. Nice that it's that tight. I like it. I like it. Walnuts. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Dixie. Absolutely, that's what it means. I think you should pay the 450K. Yeah, right. Right? Yeah. All right. Yeah. And thank you so much for being here, Rev Kev. Hope you're having a very good day. Was having fun listening in on your stream the other day as you were breaking down your Stormtrooper outfit. I got a Spider-Man outfit that I made. Got a Spider-Man outfit that me and my mom made. Yeah, my Spider-Man outfit. So I know how that is too. You know, getting in there and having fun doing all that stuff. Give them a diaper, a donut, manual, and a meeting. We'll be cooking with gas. Yeah. That's funny. Drunk and belligerent. I'm guilty of that several times. Every time. Yeah, exactly. Unions have destroyed. Yeah, they have. They absolutely have. They absolutely have. But anyway, guys, that's really all I have for this video and this live stream. Just wanted to come on and kind of talk about this and run through this a little bit when I seen and heard this news. And you know, again, I can't blame these people for wanting to go out there and you know, get paid a little bit better and have more clearly defined roles in their job, and even have meetings and stuff like that. Like I said, when I used to run these crews and everything, I would have meetings daily. You know, I would have meetings daily, and you know what? The people that worked for me loved it. They loved the fact that I would have these meetings with them every single day. They liked it. Like I said, it really does help set tone for the day and just everything that is going on for things like that. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today's video and live stream. Thank you all so much for being here today. If you're not already, please make sure you're subscribed. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up as well. Give this video a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, tell them to come hang out with us here on the 2nd Street Marvel. You all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.